All right, good morning everybody and welcome to another session here on Facebook Live. My name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Glad to be with you all this morning. Before we get started, if you guys can hear me out there, if everything's coming through clearly for you, just let me know in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Just, make sure, I want to make sure everybody has a great experience. So I want to make sure everything's working smoothly for you guys. Welcome once again. If you're just now tuning in for the very first time, every single Thursday we go live here on Facebook where we talk about the VectorVest Stock Advisory app. It's a mobile app designed to help improve your investing, your trading, whatever type of investor you are. It's a great tool to have whether you're on the go or, wherever you're at. You can always get the information you're looking for in your stocks. You can also keep up to date with what's going into the market or what's going on in the market and telling us what we should be doing every single day. Awesome. Loud and clear. Awesome. Thank you for that, guys. So good morning, Stephen, Perkins, Miguel, Binge, Vince, Mark, Brian. Hopefully you all are doing well. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking specifically on what's going on in the market. We're going to really be doing more of a market recap rather than just, a specific topic or a specific area that we're going to be looking at. I see a lot of people over the last couple of weeks saying, yeah, the market's looking good. Should I get back in now? When's the bottom? When should we start jumping in? When should we start buying again? Well, today's going to cover all of that here, especially with the market continuing to move up the last few days. Market's up today. We feel like it's a good time to really take a look at that and make sure everybody's on the same page and make sure that you have a real understanding of where we're currently at in the market. Also, if you're new here, just tuning in, don't forget everybody, hit that like button, hit that share button. All that helps me out, continues to grow our group. So if you haven't already done that, go ahead and hit that like button in the bottom left and then hit that share button as well to help out, spread the word, show people, all your friends, family, whoever you're friends with on Facebook, what the Stock Advisory app is about and how it can help them improve their investing or trading to help them reach their goals of becoming financially independent. Because that's really our number one goal here on Facebook or at VectorVest is to help you become more educated, smarter investors. So that way you can have the bigger returns and the gains that you're looking for. So awesome. I see a lot of people tuning in. Good morning, everybody. I see a lot of people tuning in from Canada. So just wanted to give a little update or a little insight into that if you're tuning in for the first time. We will be focusing primarily on the US market today. But at some point I was planning on doing, maybe next week we could do that, taking a look at our foreign markets or, all the markets that we have and doing a market update for those markets as well. So if you have questions about stocks, we will be looking at them on the US side. So with that, just to go over what we like to do, we start off taking a look, really what's going on in the market today. Then we'll dive into our topic. And as always, we'll spend the last half of the session analyzing any stock that you want to take a look at. So if you're here to see, how your stock's analyzed through the VectorVest system, make sure to stick around towards the very end. So that way you can keep up to date with that and get the information you're looking for. So with that, let's go ahead, jump right into it here. So as we can see, looking at the market timing gauge right in the top center, it is 3 ticks into the yellow. The market is neutral, and VectorVest advocates caution when buying stocks at this time. Every single time we see that the market is showing their sign of caution, we like to scroll down here a little bit, and we'll skip the color guard for now and take a look at the advanced to declines. The advanced to declines tells us, how many stocks are moving higher today versus how many stocks are moving lower today. On a general rule of thumb, we like to see a 2-to-1 bias. So if the markets are higher, we want to see at least twice as many stocks advancing than declining. And if the markets are moving lower, just the inverse. We want to see twice as many stocks declining than advancing. So as we can see right now, we're sitting about 50% of stocks moving higher and 37% of stocks moving lower. Clearly not that 2-to-1 bias that we prefer. So therefore, we probably want to hold off from buying for today. Now, if we scroll up, take a look at the color guard. The color guard analyzes the market based upon 3 indicators that we use here. First off is the price, which is looking at the price of the VectorVest composite. The VectorVest composite is an arithmetic indexed average of about 8,300 stocks that we track in the US market. This gives us a better representation of what's actually happening in the market because it's not just looking at the Dow's 30 or the Nasdaq's 100 or the S&P's 500, but it's looking at 8,300 stocks. So it gives us a more descriptive, bigger view on what's actually happening. The second indicator is going to be the RT, or relative timing. This is looking at the short-term price trend in the market, and it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2. So above 1 is good, below 1 is bad. 0.93 tells us the short-term trend in the market is down currently. Then we look at the BSR, the buy to sell ratio, which is analyzing the overall health of the market. So it's looking at the number of buy rated stocks in the database, the number of sell rated stocks in the database. So if there's more buys than sells, the buy to sell ratio will be above 1. And if there's more sells than buys, the buy to sell ratio will be below 1, as it is now at 0.43, telling us less stocks are participating in the current marketplace right now. And then these 3 indicators combine together to come up with the MTI, or the market timing indicator. It's looking at the underlying trend of the market. Once again, it's going to be on a scale of 0 to 2. So above 1, underlying trend is up. Below 1, underlying trend is down. Now, if you're new here and you haven't caught on yet, a lot of what VectorVest does is puts things on scales of 0 to 2 to make it easy for the individual investor. Instead of you having to go through scads of data and tons of data to analyze it on your own, taking potentially hours at a time of your own time, we do the work. You get to reap the profits. And if you can, interpret a 0 to 2 scale, VectorVest is going to make your investing a lot faster. All right, so MTI being below 1 tells us the underlying trend in the market is down, and we'll get into a little bit more detail on the MTI in just a few moments here. After that, we then get into the trend, which shows 2 parts of trend each and every day. The first part is looking at simply the weekly trend, or the short-term trend of the market. As we can see, it's up since we're higher compared to 5 trading days earlier. Second part, just looking at the underlying trend again. MTI is below 1, so underlying trend currently down. Then we get the calls column, which stands for our confirmed calls. Now, this is going to be our most conservative timing system. It's going to be our last signal we get to get into the market and our last signal we get to get out. As we can see, we still remain in a confirmed down situation as of right now. So last thing we want to do, just to quickly analyze the market, is take a look at the major indices, see what they're doing. As we can see, the Dow is up about 0.4%. Nasdaq actually being one of the bright spots here, up about 1%. S&P up just shy of 0.5% for the day. Overall, the VectorVest composite up about 0.5% as well. So I see a lot of people asking about questions on stocks that they want to take a look at. Just stick around. As always, we'll analyze your stocks that you guys want to analyze at the very end. So make sure to stick around. We'll get those covered for you here. All right, so getting into our topic here today. Everybody is seeing the major indices being up right now. As an individual, if you're not in tune with what's going on in the market, this could be a trigger for some people to say, okay, yeah, I should definitely go buy. The markets are up. They're moving higher. Things are looking good. Well, what we want to do is take a step back first and foremost and analyze it specifically using the VectorVest indicators and also, from a technical standpoint as well. So with that, let's go ahead and we'll start to take a look at it from a technical basis, and then we'll take a look at what the indicators are telling us as well. So we go to the VectorVest composite graph here, and as you can see, I have it on a 3-month time frame. Let me just change this over real quick so you guys can see it a little bit more clearly here. And at the top, I have the price. At the bottom, I have the earnings per share. So one thing that we will definitely do is take off the earnings per share first and foremost. Change the lower graph. And let's go ahead and change it, let's say, to DPO. DPO is a momentum indicator if you're not familiar with it. We'll go ahead and stick with that for today. Obviously, you could change it to whatever you like, but we'll just start off with that. All right. So as you can see, up until about the end of August, we were having a nice steady upward trend, higher highs, higher lows. Everything was looking great. Well, as you guys know, we were talking about how our indicators were hitting lower highs, lower lows, and now all of a sudden, we're starting to see lower highs, lower lows coming in with the price action of the overall market as well. So if you're new to investing, one of the most basic definitions of an uptrend is higher highs, higher lows. One of the most basic definitions of a downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. So from a technical standpoint, we see here lower highs, lower lows ever since the end of August, and that by definition is putting us in a downtrend. One other thing that's worth noting here is you can see every time the market hits a low, bounces back, these candles before it goes lower are clear signs that the market is showing weakness, and people are using these rebounds or these bounce backs, if you will, to sell their positions or take profits, because we've had a great run over the last 6 months, but people are going to take their profits. They don't want to give all that back. And the way you can tell that is just by simply reading the candlesticks. So what you can see here, let's say for, there we go, the 16th of September, for example, you see the market ran higher and then hit a high for the day of, what is that, 1594. And then by the time the market hit that point, that was halfway through the day roughly, all of a sudden everybody saw that, took their profits, and that pushed the price of the overall market back down, and it actually closed at the same place essentially that it opened up at. When you see this, that tells you that, there's a lot of selling going on. This is a very bearish candlestick when you see it. We've talked about candlesticks in the past. We can probably talk about candlesticks in the future as well. Maybe revisit that topic. But for right now, that is a very bearish candlestick. If you don't know how to read candlesticks, or if you've never spent a lot of time in learning how to read candlesticks, I highly urge you to do so, because it's a great way to get insight on the investor's mentality, or the overall market's mentality of what they think about certain things. So we saw that all of a sudden coming up to the last couple of days here. You ran higher, but by the time the market closed, started pulling back, closed in the lower 50% of the market's trading range yesterday. Then today, market's trying to push higher once again, but now we're in a doji, which is a reversal sign or sign of potential weakness. Now, granted, a doji is a weak reversal sign, but a reversal sign nonetheless, and something to keep an eye on. So if the market closed right now at this specific time, this would be something that would give us some worry here. Because if you're not looking at this, if you're just looking at, what the major indices are doing, you can see, well, we've been on a nice run over the last few days. I don't want to miss out on that opportunity. I want to go ahead and buy. I want to get in now. And if you're really aggressive, you want to take care of, or you want to take advantage of some of these short-term bounces, by all means, you could do so, but be very careful. If you're a swing trader or a longer-term investor, this is not the signs that you want to be seeing telling us that the market is healthy. So you may be asking yourself, what are some signs that I could look for on a chart basis or a technical basis that would tell me that the market's starting to rebound, or the market may be seeing a new uptrend starting? Well, one of the first things, support resistance. So as I mentioned earlier, the basic definition of an uptrend is higher highs, higher lows. Well, you have lower highs, lower lows. So what would it take? All of a sudden, you'd have to see it take out this high here, which could be the closing of the day at 50.48. And if you take out that, which is not too far off from, but if you take out that, then all of a sudden that lower highs pattern is starting to break down. And now all of a sudden you have higher highs, which typically leads to higher lows. So for right now, from a technical standpoint, we're kind of waiting to see if that level of resistance or that previous high can be broken. And that would give us some early indication that a reversal is actually potentially happening in the market. Now, this is something that, a risk to reward view here, because yeah, you may not have gotten in on the exact bottom, so you're giving up a little bit of that profit for a higher probability of success when getting into your trade. So therefore, yeah, you may miss out on some of that gain from the last few days, but you have a higher probability of success when you enter that trade by getting in when it's starting to breach that high or starting to hit a new high here. So this is one thing that you can definitely look at on a nightly basis to see if it's a good time or if it's starting to show signs that it's starting to become a good time to get in. Vince is saying the 3 and the 8 EMA crossovers. Yeah, we've talked about that here many, many times here on our Facebook sessions, but also, in our jockey club as well. So 3 and the 8, definitely a good way to keep an eye on it as well for a very short-term approach. 3 and the 8 is phenomenal. So if that helps you guys out, if that teaches you guys something new, and you haven't already hit that like button, make sure to do so. Make sure to hit that share button as well. All right, so that's from a technical standpoint. We've seen that, we know that, but what is the analysis that VectorVest is providing? What is that telling us? So let's go ahead and jump out of here. Go back to the overview page. There we go. And let's take a look at the color guard in a little bit more detail. Now, I talked a little bit about this last week, and I said I was going to talk about it more this week, which we are. So there's a few key things when we look at the color guard that tells us where we're currently at in the market. So, for example, first one we always start off with is the BSR buy to sell ratio. So if you're not familiar with VectorVest, we give a buy, hold, and sell rating on every single stock every single day. We use that to analyze the number of buy rated stocks compared to the number of sell rated stocks, as we mentioned earlier. And to get a buy, that means the stock has to be participating in the market. That means the stock has to be moving higher. Its short-term trend has to be up. It has to be higher than its stop price, and it has to be pulling away from that stop price. But essentially, without getting into the details on all that, it means that the stock has to be moving higher when the market's moving higher. That is, essentially what you want a stock to do when you get into it. If a stock has a sell rating and the market's moving higher, that tells us it's not doing the things we want it to be doing when we get into it. It's not participating in the market. It's moving lower. It's steadily falling. Those aren't things that you want in a stock that you're going to be buying. So we utilize that to see, how many stocks are really continuing or backing the market and how many stocks are not. So when the buy to sell ratio is below 1, it tells us there's less stocks participating, which shows weakness. And when it gets to a level of 0.2 or below, that generally shows that there's a oversold condition in the market, that there's, a grossly oversold condition in the market. And that is usually a great indication that the market's getting ready to snap back. Well, we saw right below 0.2 on September 24th, September 25th. It was at 0.2 exactly. We've had a little bit of a pop, but not much. It can fluctuate here and there, but overall, we look at the next indicator, the MTI, the market timing indicator. And we talk about this a lot here on Facebook, but there's 2 key levels that we want to focus on. And the MTI, when it gets to 0.6 or below, or 0.6 to 0.7 in that range, that generally shows us that the market is looking for a bottom. And then when it gets to 1.5 to 1.6, that generally shows the market's looking for a top. Well, we hit 0.7 on September 24th. I believe that was the low for the this last bounce that we've had. But we haven't really gotten below that point. Yeah, we hit the upper extreme, but after the market's been on such a run, expect to see it get to that 0.6 to 0.7 range. So as we can see, 0.7 right now, or 0.7 a week ago, yeah, that's good, but still not quite there. So the analysis is telling us or confirming what we're really seeing on the market timing graph as well, that we're really not finished with this downtrend yet, that there still may be a little bit more to go, and that this may just be a temporary relief coming in, and that we should be very cautious if we're going to be buying stocks long right now. I see Trevor asking, how effective is a 3 and 8 crossover technique when a stock is oscillating in a channel? So Trevor, moving averages or moving average crossovers in general are not as effective when the stock is in a sideways channel, but are more designed for stocks that are in an uptrend or a downtrend to help you capture the little pullbacks or help you get in early off of little pullbacks in an uptrend, and vice versa. What I learned over time is when everyone is bearish. But that's the thing. Remy, that's the old saying that, buy when there's blood on the streets. But right now, everybody's not really bearish. The market has been moving up higher for quite some time. And we've seen a few days of uptrend. People that don't have VectorVest are going to be buying these blindly, not realizing that, hey, bottom really hasn't come in yet, and we want to be cautious, or the best way to describe it is cautiously optimistic. That's what we try to do here. You want to be optimistic that the market's going to rebound, but until we see it break that level of resistance that we talked about, from a technical standpoint, that tells us that we want to be extremely careful and maybe just holding off, getting our list together, getting our shopping list together, but holding off from buying for the day, or at least for the time being. So, yeah, I agree with you that, buy when everybody's bearish, but at the same time, with VectorVest, it's going to help you pinpoint that entry and pinpoint that exit a little bit more, or with a little bit more precision there. Money going in versus money going out. If you watch volume, volume is another great indicator. We're not going to really talk about, what to look for in the stocks today, but volume is a great indicator to look at. So what I'm going to do for right now is we're going to jump into VectorVest 7, take a look at these indicators on the graph, with the overall price action as well. So I'm going to switch over to that. As you guys can see, we're now VectorVest 7. This is the real-time version. I get this question a lot. VectorVest, if you want real time, you do have to upgrade to the desktop version, which is what you see here. And if you just are on mobile, it will be on a 15-minute delay. If you have any questions about when to upgrade or try out the real time, just give our support a call. They'd be glad to help you out. All right. So we jump into the graph section. And as you can see, I already have a market timing graph pulled up. 3-month time frame. Looks pretty similar to what we saw in the app, just with the black background instead of a white. But at the bottom here, we have the MTI, the BSR, and the RT. So as you can see, you have the buy to sell ratio and the MTI picked up a little bit, but they're still well below 1 and confirming what we were noticing with the downtrend. We're not seeing any divergences yet with any of the indicators. This is something that is definitely noteworthy here. If we zoom out, let's say to a 6-month, we can see the MTI peaked actually around the beginning of June. And even though the market was moving higher, the MTI, the buy to sell ratio, the RT were all drifting lower, which we've talked about in previous videos. And now all of a sudden we're starting to see this downturn. Well, one thing that I've noticed over the years of my investing is that the longer the bearish divergence, the longer the downturn typically becomes once that bearish divergence starts kicking in. So saying that because we've seen a quick bounce over the last few days is a good time to buy is definitely a little bit too early to say. When you see it here, even in the last few weeks running up to the new high, I'll just switch this over to the date line here and put it roughly right around the 17th of August. Actually, we'll go 18th of August. You can see the MTI was at 1.64. Then at the official high on the 2nd of September, 1.51. Even a clear bearish divergence on a short-term basis as well. We've talked a lot about divergences over the years here, but just wanted to point it out, especially because we're having a lot of new people joining our sessions every single week. So I want to make sure everybody gets the most benefit from these sessions as they possibly can. Right now, lower highs, lower lows. We can see all of our indicators are confirming that because they're also hitting lower highs and lower lows as well, telling us that this downtrend that we've seen may not be dissipating quite yet. and that we should definitely pay close attention to it over the next week, 2 weeks, however long it's going to last. Nobody can predict how long it's going to last, but with the analysis that we provide and the analysis that we see here, we can definitely have a good idea of what to look for to know that that downtrend is starting to dissipate and that a new uptrend may be starting to form. All right. So if you guys have any questions on this, feel free to let me know in the comments there as well. If you guys found today's session helpful, if you guys learned something new here, make sure, as always, hit that like button, hit that share button, share with all your friends, share with all your groups that you're friends with or that you're part of, your investing groups, whatever it may be. Get this message out there so that way we can help not only you, but your friends, family, relatives, whoever they may be, also improve their trading, improve their investing, and help them make smarter decisions as well. I am very new to this, trying to follow. Well, Mary, awesome. First off, thank you very much for being here. VectorVest is a great place to start if you're new. One thing I will definitely say is if you're new to VectorVest, something that I think people just miss on is that we do offer free coaching to all of our new subscribers as well. So if you want to get more familiar with this, get the questions asked that you have, give our support a call, take advantage of them. They will be glad to help you out and make sure we get you started on the right track. Rather than, starting off like most investors who make a lot of mistakes at first. We'll help you get started with the right behaviors rather than trying to break old behaviors or bad behaviors and then replace those with good behaviors. Awesome. You're welcome. I see a lot of people saying they liked today's session. Awesome. Glad you guys learned something new here. Good for day trading. So Rick, real-time desktop app. Yeah, definitely good for day trading. I do a lot of day trading in our Jockey Club, which is our aggressive trading room where we do a lot of swing trading. We do a lot of day trading, that kind of stuff. What we're talking about here is not really geared as a day trader's session here today. Vince coming in with the VV Nation. Vince, we're the high flyers here. High flyers in the chat. Awesome. You're welcome, guys. Glad you guys found, or hopefully you guys learned something new from it. See, VV Nation still coming in. Hey, I get it. For anybody that's wondering what the VV Nation is about, that's our YouTube channel with our other senior instructor, Glenn Tompkins. He goes live all the time on our YouTube. If you haven't already jumped into that, search for VectorVest on YouTube. Subscribe, like the channel, and you'll see a lot more content as well on VectorVest, what's going on in the market. I know he has trending Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern that you guys can take advantage of. If you haven't already gone and checked that out, make sure to go do so. All right, so Mark, all you got to do to join the club is just show up every week, show your support, make sure to share the videos. That's pretty much it. Tell your friends, tell your family. That's about it to be part of the high flyers here on our Facebook channel or our Facebook page. All right, so I see a lot of people asking questions about certain stocks. So let's go ahead, finish up that part of today's session and really get into analyzing your stocks. Now, all you got to do, if you're not a subscriber, there is a link in the description of this video. You can click on subscribe immediately, get the same access you see here. If you are a subscriber, all you got to do is pull up the app. It comes with your subscription, whether you're on desktop or just mobile. Pull up the app, click on the little magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner, and you can quickly get the analysis that you're looking for on any stock out there. So the first one I see a lot of people asking about Gush. So let's go ahead and take a look at Gush for the first one here. If I could type it first and foremost. All right. So looking at Gush, for anybody not familiar with it, it is an ETF. Specifically looking at oil. And with ETFs, the primary focus is not going to be the RVRS. It's going to be the RT. The RT, once again, is looking at the short-term price trend of a stock. So above one, the short-term trend is up. Below one, short-term trend is down. As we can see at 0.26, that tells us Gush is in a strong downtrend right now. Therefore, it's not favorable. Now, once we get to an actual stock, I see a lot of other people asking about SHLL. So we'll go ahead and analyze that. LL. And we'll analyze this one and use this as an actual example of a stock. So, as always, we get these 4 indicators here that are all cast on scales of 0 to 2. As I mentioned earlier, if it is above 1, that's good. Below 1 is bad. So the first one we look at is the RV, or the relative value. This is looking at the long-term potential of a stock over the next 1 to 3 years. 0.28 tells us it has poor long-term potential over the next 1 to 3 years. Next indicator is our risk factor, our safety factor. Above 1 tells us there is less risk associated with the stock. Below 1, more risk. 0.77 tells us there's definitely more risk involved with this stock. So, first 2 indicators are looking at the fundamentals. As we can see right now, poor fundamentals with this stock. The third indicator is the RT, or relative timing. The relative timing, once again, looking at the short-term price trend of a stock. Above 1, uptrend. Below 1, downtrend. 1.58 tells us it has a pretty strong uptrend overall on a short-term basis. So, therefore, the stock is favorable if you're a speculative trader. Tan, actually, if you ever come to Mooresville, there is a place called Clutch Coffee. It's a local business, but by far some of the best coffee around. So that is what I've got, and that is my favorite spot. If you ever come to Charlotte in general, ever come to the Mooresville area, you definitely got to hit it or check it out. It's a great coffee shop. Small little business, but yeah. So no Starbucks for me. All right. So that's SHLL. Let's see, ZM. Why isn't it pulling up? Let's go here. ZM. There we go. All right. So ZM, good long-term potential, about average risk involved with the stock. It's in a really strong uptrend, so overall, stock's favorable. Let's see what the next one is. WMT. Walmart. So WMT, average long-term potential, better than average safety with the stock, in a steady uptrend. So overall, stock's favorable right now. Let's see what else we got. Actually, Facebook. We'll do Facebook real quick since we're on Facebook already. So Facebook, good long-term potential, less risk associated with the stock. It's basically flat though on a short-term basis. The fundamentals are definitely good, but just not the right time to be buying it currently. All right, BLFE. There we go. Not seeing that one. SNSR. There we go. So this looks like another ETF. So yeah, RVRS always going to be at 1. Timing 1.14. Good, but not great. Typically, you like to see a little bit higher, but hey, overall, that makes it favorable here. LOW. Right down the street from us here, their headquarters. So we got good long-term potential, solid fundamentals, less risk associated with the stock. You're in a steady uptrend. So yeah, overall, the stock's favorable. Also, if you're just tuning in and haven't already hit that like button, make sure to do so. You know, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Hit that like button, hit that share button, get this out, get this going. Let's see if we can go viral here. All right, next one is going to be DG, Dollar General. Dollar General, great long-term potential, solid fundamentals, so less risk associated with the stock. It's in a steady uptrend. So yeah, overall the stock's definitely favorable. AAL. AAL, there we go. American Airlines, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with the stock. It's basically flat on a short-term basis. Therefore, the stock is not favorable. UFPI. Good long-term potential, less risk associated with this stock. It's in a steady uptrend, so overall the stock's favorable. Let's see, LOGI. There we go. LOGI, good long-term potential, less risk associated with the stock. You have a nice steady uptrend, so overall the stock's definitely favorable. Enphase, yeah, sure, we can definitely take a look at that. Haven't taken a look at Enphase in a few weeks. Enphase, great long-term potential, solid fundamentals, so less risk associated with the stock. You have a nice, consistent, strong uptrend. Overall, the stock's definitely favorable here. Let's see, NIO. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with this stock, but it's a momentum play. It's a speculative play. Everybody's betting that this is going to be the Tesla of China. So yeah, you have a really strong momentum play currently, but just know that you're assuming a lot of risk getting into this one. Let's see, SHOP, SHOP. SHOP, poor long-term potential, but solid fundamentals. So this is going to be more of a conservative play here. You have a nice steady uptrend. Overall, the stock's favorable. Apple, AAPL. Let's see. Apple has good long-term potential. No surprise there. Solid fundamentals. They hold more cash than most countries. Nice steady uptrend. Overall, the stock's definitely favorable. Workhorse, WKHS. So looking at Workhorse, poor long-term potential. A lot of risk associated with the stock, so it's a speculative play. But you have a nice, steady, strong uptrend on a short-term basis. Therefore, the stock's slightly favorable, but I'd like to see that short-term trend be a little stronger to take on that amount of risk. Should we never buy ETFs? D. So we did a whole strategy or whole session just a week or two ago on ETFs. ETFs are a great way to diversify yourself. They're a great trade. So, different strokes for different folks. If you're more aggressive or, you may take individual stocks, but if you want to just have, something that doesn't necessarily give you the biggest bang for your buck, but also reduces your risk, ETFs are a great way to go. Let's see, REGN. Mary's asking, what am I bullish on? Right now, not a whole lot. I'm waiting for the market to really clearly define a bottom before I start really getting bullish on anything. Right now, I'm just sitting mostly in cash, just being patient, waiting for the right time. As the old saying goes, patience is a virtue and good things come to those who wait. All right, so REGN, great long-term potential, solid fundamentals. However, definitely seeing some profit taking, so therefore it's in a short-term downtrend. Right now, not the time to be long in it. NVDA, let's take a look. Good long-term potential, solid fundamentals, so less risk associated with the stock. Nice steady uptrend. Overall, the stock's favorable. Let's see, REGI, great long-term potential. Less risk associated with this stock. It's basically a rocket shooting off to the moon right now, so really strong momentum behind it. So overall, the stock's favorable. Let's see. DOMO. Poor long-term potential. A lot of risk associated with it. Nice steady uptrend though. Unfortunately, that momentum does not back up the amount of risk you're taking, so therefore the stock's not favorable right now. Mark, bottom left-hand corner of the video, down. Let me make sure I'm pointing to it the right way. Oh, down that way is the like button. That side is the share button. Hit both of them. Let's see, Disney, DIS. Disney, poor long-term potential. That has quickly changed recently with all the new stuff coming out with the whole shutdown, lockdown, all of that. The RS has dropped significantly as well, as they're not consistently growing their earnings quarter over quarter, year over year. So RS is still good, but not great. Timing, the stock's basically flat on a short-term basis. Therefore, the stock's not favorable right now. Oh, must have accidentally clicked on the X. There we go. Get back into it real fast. Amazon, AMZN. Amazon, average long-term potential. Solid fundamentals, though. However, the short-term trend is down. The stock is favorable, but not the right time to be in it right now. Let's see. ARK, we'll take a look. Oh, that's not ARK. ARK. The FinTech ETF possibly. ARKF. ARKF, decent, consistent uptrend. So yeah, it's favorable right now. And looking at that graph, that's a phenomenal looking graph right there. Just a quick snapshot of the graph. Tesla, TSLA. Tesla, great long-term potential, solid fundamentals, so less risk associated with it. You have a really strong uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable. PLL. So poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with this stock, but high momentum, so it's a speculative play you're betting on right now. Overall, the stock's favorable because of that momentum currently. DHI, which comes from the home builders, which is actually one of some of the best performing industries out there right now. So DHI, good long-term potential, less risk associated with the stock, really strong uptrend. Overall, definitely favorable here. All right, let me get caught back up. Michael, I definitely would. It's been a few weeks since I've been in the Jockey Club. I got to get back in there with you guys sometime. I have a feeling it'll be soon. Let's see. Moderna, MDNA. Oh. MD. I'm missing it. MOD or. Well, if you don't know it, just type it in. mRNA. There we go. So that's another great thing about the VectorVest stock advisory. If you don't know the company's ticker symbol, that's okay. You can also look it up by the company's name as well. So Moderna, average long-term potential, a little bit more risk associated with it. It's in a steady decline. Overall, not favorable right now. AMD, I think I did that, but just in case, let's go ahead and redo that. AMD, good long-term potential, less risk associated with it. Really nice, strong uptrend. Overall, stock's definitely favorable here. So we'll do two more real quick. So Darren is asking, is the stock detail on the desktop too? So Darren, let's just go ahead. You can see it right above me, right there. I will go to the viewers. Let's go to the stock viewer. Just pulling it up real quick, and I'll do the next one here in VectorVest. So let's see. MSFT. We'll do Microsoft. MSFT. Just hit enter. You can see the RV, RS, RT, VST, all the four indicators that we've been looking at right here. If you want the pulled up detailed report, right click when in doubt, view the full stock analysis report. I don't know if it's going to show. Just change it over real quick so you can see it. It's going to show it. It's not going to show the report because I have it for window capture with OBS. Properties, 1 second. There we go. And you get the report, the detailed analysis of every single indicator, all their definitions, all of that information right there. All right. Let me switch that back real quick. There we go. So yes, to answer your question, you can get all that analysis in the desktop app as well. All right, and last one, we'll get back in the mobile. And we'll do BA. BA. So for Boeing, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Stocks basically flat, slightly lower. Overall, definitely not favorable here. So if we get back into the mobile app, or get back to the home page, as we can see, still 3 ticks into the yellow. We still advocate caution when buying stocks at this time. Scrolling down here, advanced declines hasn't really budged that much. Major indices, Dow's picked up a little bit, Nasdaq's picked up a little bit, S&P's picked up a little bit from where we looked at it originally. VectorVest Composite, same thing. So we've seen a little bit of a recovery from where we were at when we started today's session, but looking at the advanced declines tells us not enough to really make us, take that risk right now after everything else that we've seen. So on that note, it's been my pleasure being with you guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your trading day. Take care. If you ever have any questions regarding VectorVest or the stock advisory, give our support a call. They'd be glad to help you out there as well. Also, if you haven't, last second chance, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to turn on notifications to the VectorVest Facebook page, so that way you stay up to date with everything that we have going on and you get notified every time we go live here on Facebook. With that, you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care. Have a great weekend. And we will see you all next Thursday here on Facebook at 11 a.m. Eastern. Bye for now, everybody.